Dear friend, I can feel your breath. I know that in this moment you are carrying a deep fatigue. You may feel as if everything is falling apart, relationships are broken, work has lost its meaning, your body is weak, your faith seems shattered. You feel like you are falling freely into a void of uncertainty. And in that moment, it seems like there is nothing left to hold on to. But hear me out, you are not abandoned. When things fall apart, what is happening is not punishment, but cleansing. The universe never destroys you. It only removes what no longer serves your soul's evolution. When the old house falls apart, people often panic. But if it doesn't fall, how can you build a new one? If it doesn't fall, how can you receive the real thing? I ask you, if the universe is unraveling parts of your life, could it be a sign that it is releasing you from old limitations? Every collapse is a rite of rebirth. Just as a lotus cannot bloom in undisturbed mud, your soul cannot shine while it is still covered by the cloak of illusion and fear. Let me, in this moment, lead you through the darkness to realize that you were never truly lost. The hidden nature of collapse. Dear friend, nothing really collapses except what is not yours. All the loss, breakups, separations, and chaos you are witnessing are just layers of illusions dissolving. And behind every collapse lies a great rebirth of your soul. People often think that suffering is the enemy. But in fact, suffering is just the light of awareness shining into the darkness. When you feel collapsed, it is the universe knocking on your consciousness, reminding you that you are not the house that is collapsing, but the vast sky of which the house is just a passing cloud. Do you realize? Your ego clings to form, to identity, role, person, possessions, emotions, and calls it me. But that I is just a temporary cloak the soul puts on to learn a lesson. When the lesson is complete, the universe takes it back, sometimes in what you call a falling apart. And you panic because the mind cannot bear the change. But your soul smiles because it knows that nothing has been lost, only the shell is falling away so that the true light can be revealed. Just as the dawn does not fight the darkness, it just appears, and the darkness dissolves. Likewise, suffering does not need to be erased, it just needs to be seen with the light of awareness. Because when you see through it, you are no longer its victim. Let me say this clearly. When your mind calls it falling apart, your soul is calling it liberation. Liberation from false identifications. Liberation from the burdens of control. Free yourself from the bonds that no longer nourish your soul. All the pain you feel, all the torment you endure, is really just a clash between the soul and the ego. The ego wants to hold on to what is familiar, even though it is rotten. The soul wants to soar, even though it means leaving the nest. In that conflict, you name it loss. But in reality, it is just the disintegration of illusion, the moment you are reborn as yourself. So when you find yourself falling apart, smile a little. Say to yourself, I am being released. And as soon as you acknowledge that, the energy of suffering immediately transforms, it becomes fuel for awakening. The collapse does not come to destroy you, but to bring you back to the truth that you were never what is collapsing. You are the soul, infinite, immortal, unbreakable. You are being guided, not abandoned. Dear friend, do not be afraid when the path becomes dark. For only in darkness does the inner light have a chance to shine. And in the moment when you feel abandoned, God is holding you in His arms. Perhaps you have silently asked, why is all this happening to me? Why is God silent when I am in so much pain? But I tell you, God is never silent. He speaks through change. He teaches through loss. and He guides through things your mind cannot understand. No tear is shed in vain. No soul is lost without the light to follow. Every storm you go through, every person who leaves you, every door that closes is an invisible arrow from the universe guiding you back to the path your soul chose before you were born. You see, the journey of the soul is never straight. It is like a river winding through the mountains. If you only look at it from the ground, you think it is lost. But from above, you will see that every turn has a divine reason. Likewise, the turns in your life, the losses, the unexpected changes, are the universe's way of aligning you to the right path of soul evolution. When the boat changes direction, the people on board think the wind is against them. But in fact, the wind is not against them, the wind is just changing direction so that the boat can reach where it truly belongs. You are not abandoned. You are being redirected. People leaving your life is not a loss, it is a frequency purification. Relationships, jobs, habits, once they are no longer compatible with your new vibration, they will dissolve on their own, not because they are wrong, but because their cycle is complete. Like the fire that purifies gold, only the impurities are burned away, leaving the gold brighter, clearer, purer. You are not punished. You are being purified. And in that purification, do not resist. Because if you resist, you prolong the suffering. But if you surrender, you melt into the flow of grace. I invite you to practice a small but powerful shift. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? What part of me is it trying to awaken? When you shift the question, your energy changes. From victim, you become learner. From wounded, you become enlightened. And in that very moment, you step over the boundary of ignorance into the space of wisdom and peace. Believe me, you are not alone in this journey. When you feel lost, it is a sign that the light is about to be revealed. Because even when the sky is cloudy, the sun is still there, you just can't see it. Likewise, God has never left you. He is just teaching you how to see Him in the darkness. Why it must go through darkness to recognize light. I know, you don't want to go through darkness. No one really wants to go to that place where everything inside them begins to fall apart, where old beliefs are shattered, illusions are exposed, and the deepest wounds surface. But listen to this, darkness does not come to destroy you, but to give you a second birth. No soul has grown into the light without first going through its own darkness. Even the enlightened ones have to go through it. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree not to avoid suffering, but to face it head-on. Jesus did not avoid the cross, because he knew that only by embracing darkness can love be made whole. Krishna did not avoid battle, because he understood that enlightenment lies not in false peace, but in seeing the divine in all turmoil. Darkness is an unforgiving teacher. It takes away everything you rely on, forcing you to turn back to yourself. When you lose everything, you see what cannot be lost. And when everything falls apart, only the light of presence, the eternal I Am, stands there, motionless, witnessing. You ask, why does it hurt? Because pain is a signal that consciousness is expanding. Pain is where the old falls away, so that the new can be born. Pain is the soul's way of illuminating the dark corners of you, the parts you once denied or feared to face. Darkness does not oppose the light, it is the backdrop for the light to be recognized. Without night, you would not know how bright the dawn is. Without suffering, you would not know how precious your compassion and deep stillness are. So don't run from the darkness. Sit with it, as with an old friend. Look at your tears without condemnation. Allow yourself to melt, for it is in that melting that the seed of enlightenment begins to sprout. I tell you, when you feel like you have lost everything, that is when you are closest to the truth. When you have fallen to the bottom, you will see that nothing is truly lost. Because you are not the body that is shaking, not the story that is collapsing, not the role that is ending. You are the one who is observing everything. You are the still space where all the turmoil is born and dissolves. Remember, every step in the darkness is guided by the invisible hand of God. And when you allow the darkness to wash away the coverings, you will realize that in the darkness, you begin to shine. The power of surrender. Dear friend, now that you have gone through the darkness, I want to talk about the most important thing, surrender. There is no way to freedom except through surrender. Surrender is not weakness. It is the highest power of the mature soul. When you surrender, you do not give up, you simply stop forcing life to be your way and allow the divine will to work through you. You do not surrender, you surrender your ego. And in that moment, the entire universe begins to work on your behalf. Understand this deeply. The mind is always afraid. It is a child trying to cling to what it knows. But the soul is the ocean, it is never afraid of losing because it knows nothing is beyond it. When you stop fighting the river, you begin to be carried by it. And that flow is God's will taking you where your soul needs to go, not where your mind wants to go. Surrender is the science of trust. When you surrender, you say to the universe, I don't know, but I believe. I don't understand, but I open my heart. I no longer try to carry it myself, because I know you carry it with me. I've seen many people pray in fear. They ask God to change their circumstances, but they never let Him change them. Surrender is when you allow yourself to be transformed. Surrender is accepting that everything that happens is a teaching. When you stop fighting, your heart opens. When your heart opens, love begins to flow. And when love flows, miracles become natural. Practice surrender, not just with words, but with every breath you take. As you inhale, silently say, I trust. As you exhale, say, I surrender. In this way, each breath is a prayer, each heartbeat a song of surrender. Then you will feel the magic. When you stop struggling to steer the boat, the sea begins to lift you. When you let go of the steering wheel, God's invisible hand begins to steer. When you no longer demand perfection from life, life suddenly becomes sacred. Surrender is the only door that takes you from fear to peace. Because in surrender, you realize you were never alone. Everything that is happening is not against you, it is for you, to help you remember who you are. Let your heart become God's resting place. A divine rebirth is happening. Children of light, listen deeply, for the times you live in are not coincidental. The earth is shifting. A massive wave of energy is enveloping all of humanity, raising the planet's vibrational frequency to a new level, the dimension of love, unity, and awareness. What you have been feeling lately, fatigue, confusion, disorientation, intense dreams, or uncertain emotions, are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are signs of awakening. You are vibrating with the planet. You are awakening with Mother Earth. Like a snake shedding its skin, humanity is shedding its old energetic shells. The shell of fear. The shell of separation. The shell of power and control. All are dissolving in the light of unconditional love. The old dissolves, not to destroy, but to make way for the light to enter. Old systems collapse, because they were built on a foundation of ignorance. Old beliefs dissolve, because the collective consciousness no longer resonates with the lower frequencies. Old relationships leave because your soul is moving to a higher frequency where only truth can survive. The universe is working through chaos, because chaos is the dance of energy as the new order is born. Just as the earth shakes before the seed emerges, so too the world shakes before the light of the new era floods in. Remember this. You are not just living through a period of history, you are participating in the greatest transformation of the human soul. You are not just an observer, you are a bearer of light. With every conscious breath, every loving thought, every good deed, you are contributing to the global frequency. If you feel lost, know that you are not alone. Millions of souls are walking with you through the portal of awakening. Every ray of light, every wave of love from the center of the universe is pouring down, activating the sacred DNA within you, awakening the ancient memory that you are the light of God in human form. Do not fear change. Do not fear when you see yourself differently, because the old you is just a skin that is falling off, so that the true soul can be born. The ego is melting, so that the I am, the immortal divine part, can emerge. This is not the end of the world, this is the beginning of the millennium of light. A new world is being born, not through power, but through love. Not through fighting, but through awakening.